I have a horrible memory. I can't remember what I did yesterday, sometimes.
What did you do yesterday?
I don't remember. I don't have an interesting life to remember about a lot of things, to be quite honest. You know, if we did a reality show of my life, there would be me sitting on the couch watching reality shows. And that's just not interesting. But
I watch it.
But there are times in our lives that we remember. There are things that are always at the cusp of our minds. Or let me say this, the good thing about me having a bad memory is when you tell me a secret, I will forget. So if you have anything you don't want anybody to know, you can tell me, I won't remember, I promise. I won't write it down or anything. But there are moments that we remember. Like I remember the first day we actually cooked something for my mom. Cooked a big bowl of soup. We put everything in the house in it. Everything that was edible for humans, we put in the soup. I don't remember if she actually ate it. I don't remember much about it other than that. But we made it for her. I remember my first car accident. Yeah, it was a rough day. But what I remember most is where I was September 11th, 2001. They say it was a Tuesday. I didn't remember it was a Tuesday. But they tell me it was a Tuesday. It was another normal day. And I remember working at a plumbing supply warehouse. And it was just a typical day when one of the plumbers come in and tell us that something happened in New York. And I'm like, New York? I lived in South Carolina at the time. New York is like a whole other country away. So, and then they said something about a plane hitting the World Trade Center. I'm like, what's the World Trade Center? You know, that's how clueless I was. And then I remember sitting in the back. We had a TV set up in the shipping and receiving office in the middle of the warehouse. And we would sit there, we'd do our jobs, work, and then stop every so often and look and see what's going on. And a lot of us remember what happened that day. But I also remember what happened the days after. I remember people suddenly becoming patriotic. Suddenly becoming patriotic. People who didn't care about America finally felt like, you know, they lived in America. Somebody just stepped out in my backyard. We've got to do something. I remember looking at people's eyes and people's faces and hearing people who were pacifists. You know what a pacifist is? Somebody who doesn't like war, doesn't like to fight. Say, okay, we've got to do something. We all wanted vengeance. We all wanted blood for blood, murder for murder, fire for fire. Something had to be done. And everybody loved George Bush when he came on made his first press conference and says, we've got to do something. I did not hear one person blast him for being a blooming idiot. I did not hear one person say anything bad about him for saying something like that, because he was saying what all America wanted to hear. And not only was he saying it, he was doing something about it. The other guy who was running for president with him, I don't think he would have done anything. Maybe he did too much. Maybe we did too much. Maybe we started too many fights. Maybe we took the war to too many places. Maybe. But we did something. And the memory of that day still sticks with us. We say phrases like, God bless America. Then we say things, we will never forget. And we will never forget makes sense. Yes, we will never forget what happened that day. Just like we will never forget what happened in Pearl Harbor. Just like we'll never forget what happened in the Civil War. We'll never forget what happened in Gettysburg. We'll never forget about what happened at Fort Sumter in South Carolina. we'll never forget these things. But I have a problem with the fact when we say we will never forget. I think sometimes we add the thought we will never forgive. And we will never forget means I'm going to hold on to this for as long as I live, and I'm going to hate people and be mad and upset and grumpy, and this is just going to fuel my red pumping American blood to the point that I'm just going to hold on and destroy everything and everybody that even looks like they could have been involved in this. We will never forget. Not sure if that's always a good banner to raise. And this has a point, and it is going to connect to Jacob and Esau, because last week we talked about Jacob and Esau. Last week we talked about two brothers, twin brothers, born on the same day, had the same father and mother. That's why they're twins. Okay? We talked about how Esau was born first, and he was a red, hairy man. He was a redneck. And attached to his heel, literally coming out of the womb, was his brother Jacob. Now Esau had the rights to the family, the family blessing. It was supposed to be his. Firstborn son, he had the birthright. That means he got twice as much as his brother did when his father finally kicked the bucket. Yeah, I don't use good pastoral terms when I talk about these things. This is good. But Jacob bought Esau's birthright with what? Soup. A bowl of lentil soup, and it was red. Beans and rice, if you want to go that route. And then Jacob and his mother Rebekah tricked Isaac, old blind granddaddy Isaac, into giving Jacob the blessing. Therefore, taking it out of Esau's hands. Right? Picture yourself as Esau, walking into that room just after your brother just left, with the food that you promised him, and your father says, I'm sorry, I already gave your blessing to Jacob. What? Can't you bless me too? Can't you bless me as well? And what did Isaac say? I only had one blessing to give. And if you want to follow along in your Bibles, we're in the book of Genesis. We are coming out, we're going to take an excerpt out of chapter 27, and then we're going to jump to we're going to jump along into a couple chapters after that. But 27, verse 41 says this. After Jacob had left the tent of Isaac, and Isaac said, there's only one blessing I have. I can't bless you, but you're going to end up working for your brother. He says, now Esau hated Jacob because the blessing with which his father had blessed him. And Esau said to himself, the days of mourning for my father are approaching, and then I will kill my brother Jacob. He hated Jacob. You don't say, I'm going to kill you just because, hey, it's fun. That emotion, Jacob took everything from Esau. Everything. From his earthly birthright to his spiritual blessing, it all fell on Jacob. And Jacob and Esau were never the same again. Esau wanted blood. Esau said, to get Jacob out of the way, I can get what's mine back. But the words of her elder son Esau were told to Rebekah. So she sent, and she called her younger son Jacob and said to him, your brother Esau is consoling himself by planning to kill you. Now therefore, my son, obey my voice. Flee at once to my brother Laban in Haran, and stay there with him for a while until your brother's fury turns away, until your brother's anger against you turns away and he forgets what you have done to him. And I will send and bring you back from there. Why should I lose both of you in one day? And I'm sure Esau was sitting there saying, I'm never going to forget. I will never forget what my brother did to me. I am going to kill him the first time I see him. I am going to destroy him, and he's never going to understand. He's never going to see the light of day. Is that a healthy attitude to have? Is that healthy? No. What does all that anger and unforgiveness and stuff do to the inside of a person? He wasn't operating in forgiveness. And we as Christ's people, as the children of God, need to learn to operate in that forgiveness aspect. I'm going to jump ahead because there are stories. Jacob, the next couple chapters deal with Jacob going off and meeting Laban and marries a woman or hires on to marry one of his daughters, but he doesn't get that daughter, he gets the other one. And then Laban says, work for me again, and he does, and then he gets the other daughter, and he gets all this stuff from Laban, and he has a very successful life. He's gone away, he has 13 children now, 4 wives. He's doing well. He's got flocks of sheep and goats and camels and donkeys. He is wealthy. He has made something of his life. And finally he has a chance to go back home. But still waiting for him in his homeland is who? And what did Esau say he was going to do when he saw his brother? Kill him. They didn't have guns back in those days. But you get the point. He was a hunter. So there's some way, and we hear the stories, Esau, the big, burly, hairy hunter, woodsman, camping guy, and then you got Jacob, the mama's boy. So, he's probably not as strong, could take his brother in a fight. So here we go. Genesis chapter 32. Let's see. Jacob went on his way, and the angels of God met him. And when Jacob saw them, he said, "This is God's camp." So he called the place Mahanaim, whatever. Jacob sent messengers. You can either say it or you can skip it. That's what they teach you in Bible class. Jacob sent messengers before him to his brother Esau in the land of Seir, the country of Edom, instructing them, "Thus you shall say to my lord Esau, thus says your servant Jacob, I have lived with Laban and as an alien and stayed until now, and I have donkeys and oxen, flocks, male and female slaves, and I have sent to tell my lord in order that I may find favor in your sight." Jacob sends messengers to Esau saying, "I'm coming." The messengers returned to Jacob saying, "We came to your brother Esau, and he is coming to meet you with 400 men. Okay. Then Jacob was greatly afraid and distressed. Well, that's a duh statement. Okay, your brother who said he's going to kill you is coming, and he ain't coming alone. He's got 400 men with him. Can you imagine what Jacob's going through right now? Saying, "Oh crap, I'm going to die." Oh wait, I can't say that word. Sorry. Oh my goodness, I'm